One's working on the seat. Go Jay, Mayo's high as well. But I have a rocket, so, you know. I have a connection. So what you're saying is, yeah.
I was excited because I did not know that Rochester High Schools had speech paint teams. I was a coach for many, many years. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it is, like, but again, the mayor got to go to prison.
I was more of an extempore and debate piece myself.
He wasn't the only one.
I'm
He
not,
went, a couple
those
people
categories are
said
cool, but
that
I find
they
it
can't
easier to like just.
I think we're ready.
Like,
Okay,
Right?
ready.
Yeah.
Sorry for the.
Think so, yeah.
And sometimes it's
Okay,
just more
well,
fun.
let's continue then. We'll continue the meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Updates and reports, beginning with the foundation.
I am Brenda Cardock, I'm the executive director of the Library Foundation. In your packet has a lot of details, but we're still looking for items, experience, and gift cards for our auction, which will run November 28th through December 3rd. The library's wish list is now live on our webpage for people to be inspired to donate when they want to give to certain items. The foundation is excited to sponsor the Mediterranean Welcoming Lunch at the All-Staff Training Day on October 3rd. And then I've given you a little description of some of the things at WIT and after our soiree at the library. It's going to be French themed. I put the whole menu there. I hope that you've all had a chance to read it so that you get excited and you want to buy the tickets. We're very close to, well, we're halfway to our sponsor goal. We are going to be auctioning 5 pairs of seats to go and have an experience with the chef at Empire Event Center, and you'll get to learn how to make French food. You'll have a nice gourmet wine dinner, and so if you know foodie kind of people, please let them know about it so they can attend. You know, if you have any questions.
Thank you. Friends.
I'm Sandy George. I am one of the managers of the bookstore, and I'm filling in for Val, who couldn't be here tonight. And I'm first just going to read what she told me to read. So, and it corresponds with the pictures that she put up in the report. This fall, our Friends group is celebrating 75 years of unwavering support for our library. The Friends of the Rochester Public Library was founded on September 26, 1949, to advocate for the library funding and for bookmobile service to reach those who are unable to go to the library. The initial role of the group was advocacy and hosting library open houses. In the 1970s and 80s, they focused on volunteering from switchboard operators, sounds interesting, children's programming, maintaining a catalog of large print books, distributing books to homebound and jails, and reading in nursing homes. With the opening of the bookstore in 1995, and we will be celebrating our bookstore's 30th anniversary next year, our focus has shifted to the raising of money for the library. The store was intended to replace the need for large sales, but the generous donors of the community overwhelmed our capacity. Our sales operations have expanded beyond the bookstore to large sales in the auditorium and online sales. Friends currently has a yearly impact of over $500,000 for the library, with funding and volunteering. Friends history is now online on our web pages, and don't forget to visit our upcoming autumn book sale in the auditorium, October 10th and through the 13th. And I just want to add one little thing about the store. This weekend, we're having a DVD sale since we had a huge donation. Friday and Saturday, our DVDs and CDs are going to be buy one, get one free. And we're also excited to welcome the Minnesota Library Association later in October. So it's going to be across the street. Any questions?
All right, thank you. Cell phone.
Yes, so not a lot to report, however, there is that time of year where Selco assigns the members of the board to be on committees, and so I'm now going to be on the nominating committee for Selco board, as well as being the representative of Selco for the Selco Foundation Board. And then the other thing is that the Minnesota Author Tour is now taking place across southeastern Minnesota, and yours truly is the author that they selected to go around to 28 libraries this fall. So, and that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Steering committee meeting update. We met on September 15th with our consultants, MSR, and we talked about a lot of things in terms of initial surveys of users and non-users, and especially how to reach non-users. That was the bulk of the discussion, where they might contact, who they might contact to access people who don't use the library or use it very marginally. And I also expressed concern that we also find information about the people who actually use the library. The non-users will be the hardest to reach, but they've been on this before and we have a lot of faith in them. We brainstormed a list of internal, which is especially staff, and external stakeholders, which besides the non-users would be, well, city council, people with Mayo and so forth. We talked about how parking will undoubtedly be a concern. And we have a next meeting with MSR on September 25th. It begins with a library staff meeting, which is appropriate. And eventually, later in the afternoon, there will be a staff liaisons committee visioning session with MSR. And as you know, we have a staff committee that is representing all the divisions and the Friends and the Foundation. And then we have some potential engagement opportunities that are coming up. I don't know if Karen, you want to talk about any of that?
Yeah, so we put a rush on getting our engagement boards ready so that we could have them ready for Latino Fest last weekend. And so Jeremiah did get to go out and had over 200, 280?
250 something.
250 folks stop by and leave comments and engage with the boards. And so that was a very good first successful event. There's one of the boards is currently up in the library, and we'll also be using these at other events. In next Wednesday, one will be at the farmers market, and then one outside as people are coming into the candidate forum for the school referendum. School board candidates. So we expect to get a lot of parents and interested community members that we don't always get to see at that event, and then also at the farmers market. So,
I have a question.
yes.
Is there going to be security at that meeting?
We do have extra staff on hand for all of our candidate forums, and that's been very intentional. So we have quite a number of people. We do have our library safety security specialist who has been intentionally scheduled to work during those hours. Thus far, we've had, Kim can chime in, but we've had
people have been behaving this election cycle.
yes.
The group of disruptors are back in a smaller number, and they're not as focused. And I was very concerned about one of the forums last week, but I guess they've decided we're not worth their effort anymore. So.
And we'll have extra hands. I know I'll be here with the engagement board. Kim will be here, and then additional staff will be at the actual forum, plus the safety security specialist. And we are all very well versed on when to call authorities, and thankfully they respond very quickly. So, yes, thank you for asking that.
And then there's a number of other events that are coming up. The Staff Training Day, which is on October 3rd. There will be some hands-on workshop Festival on November 9th. The November 15th Library Land game theme, I don't know if you want to say.
Oh, we'll have more details about that in just a moment.
Okay. Are there any questions about that? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Unless there are any concerns or questions, can I have a motion to approve items 6A to 6B?
I would move to approve the consent agenda as.
Is there a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, reports and recommendations. We don't have anything.
No, we don't. We right down to informational items.
All right, 8A, library open house.
Yes, we have Allison here to tell us about Library Land coming up in November.
I'm instructed to stand here. Hi, I'm Allison Harris. I'm a librarian in the Reader Services Division. And so if you may know, at an open house, and they were both quite successful, so we'd like to make it an annual thing. So this year's theme we've come up with is Library Land, and it's game themed. You can see from the graphic, it's all games, video games, board games, sports games, I guess. You can go ahead to the next slide, Jeremiah. This is the promotion that's gone out so far. Join us for an extended evening of fun and games as you work your way around the library collecting stamps to fill out your game card and claim your special limited edition prize. From 5 to 8 on Friday, November 15th, the library will be transformed into themes from all kinds of your favorite games. And so, similar to the murder mystery, it'll be kind of an after hours event. People will get to be here a little bit later. They will go around the library. I know like youth is gonna be Candyland themed. Reader Services is gonna be Super Mario themed. So it should be fun. The special limited edition prize is a very cool pack of playing cards that Nicole designed. And our goals with this were to engage the community, to thank our regular users by providing them something fun, and then also to draw people who aren't regular users. And what we've found with our past events is that this kind of activity, one, draws in people who either have never been or haven't been in a decade, or don't come regularly, and it also encourages people to move to other areas of the library. We had a lot of comments of, well, I didn't even know they had an upstairs, kind of thing. So it's very easy to get into. If you're a parent, you just always head to the kids section and you kind of forget there's other things. So it forces people to move around. So we're very optimistic that this will be another success, and you're all invited, and it should be very fun. So.
Moving on to the budget update.
Yes, so I just wanted to provide an update. A couple weeks ago, we were at the city council budget meeting where they had set the levy. Our decision packs as a whole were on the chopping block. Ours was not one that had a lot of questions by this point in the budget process, so it is still safe within the budget proposal. We did have one question from Councilmember Kirkpatrick, who asked, couldn't you just absorb this in your budget? To which we said no. To be able to make this position fit within the budget, we would need to look at cutting hours or cutting other services. Like, it really is not something that, which is why we made the request. So we also presented information about how we've had this increase in the number of people visiting. We have had a decrease in the number of total incidents, but we typically have that happen in the summer anyway, so we know that we're heading into the winter months. I was asked to look at our call data to RPD, and in 2023 we had 65 calls to police. So far this year we've had 65 calls to police, but that has been that was down in quarter three, but we don't have all of quarter three data yet, so I don't want to jinx us, but Brandon, like you met last time, is fantastic and is really doing great in the role, and it's been a very good position that we are still advocating strongly for, and again, I'm hopeful that it does continue to make it through the budget process. Of course, the budget hearing will not be until December, and that's when we will finally get to actually post the position and hire for the position. It will be a position that will be open posted. I would have every intention, I will publicly encourage Brandon to apply. So that's the update we have. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. And the last thing is the receiving and filing report on strategic priority H.
Yes, so this is our strategic priority H, focusing, next slide. This is, of course, priority H is all about our physical and digital library infrastructure to meet our community members and their demands. And we've had for a long time in our spaces, we recognize the need for spaces for folks using mobility assisted devices, and we found that at our registration area, actually in conversations about privacy, I love when these things happen, we had teammates who pointed out that it's really challenging for folks to register for a library card using the self-station because if you're in a wheelchair, you cannot reach it. We do have lower level desks where there is a person, but the self-service registration process desk is not, was at a set level. So we also got feedback too about our OPACs. It's really hard to reach those without an adjustable height space. So we did we used our existing funding to be able to add adjustable height desks for both library card registration as well as an OPAC area on the first floor and then one on the second floor. So the next, you'll see the desks. I only had a picture of the first floor, but it does exist on the second floor as well. I encourage you to take a walk around. It was really great because we had teammates here on staff. We have 2 teammates who are in wheelchairs that were part of our team looking at this, and they provided very valuable information of what we should be looking for. Not only the adjustable height desks, but we will also be getting an arm to hold the iPad to make it even more adjustable and user-friendly. So those are new. And one of the things, again, this was pointed out in our JEDI audit, that we really do have a lot of spaces and areas in our building where accessibility is a challenge, and we have teammates who are also even struggling just to be able to get through our spaces. So we will be creating an internal accessibility team to really talk about what are some of the things that we should be prioritizing. We know this is also going to be part of our conversation in this library facilities and operations master plan, so it really does tie nicely. We want to find some of the short wins that we can address now and not just wait for the big. There are many things that need to be adjusted, but even priorities like getting a card reader on the door behind the circulation desks. Right now there's no button, and we have teammates, again, in wheelchairs who cannot get to the back of circulation easily. It is very challenging. There's no button on that door, and that's problematic. So looking forward to our accessibility team forming and looking for, again, some of those short wins that we might be able to fit within our budget. So we have both our physical component that we think of when we think of strategic priority H, but we also have our digital. And we're having additional conversations about our e-resource access. We know that there is just a significant demand. It's like you provide a little bit and then like people find there's digital resources available and they start to use them. And And we just continue to see month over month an increase in usage of those e-resources. And they're expensive. Libraries are not charged what individuals get charged with an Audible account or a Kindle account. Libraries are charged differently, you know. And we're not the only libraries that are struggling with this. So I just wanted to put that out there because we are having internal conversations about how we can address some of that. And so we'll have more to share. One of the things that we did many months ago was we stopped offering temporary cards where folks would have instant access at home. Because those were problematic, and we found that oftentimes people weren't coming in after the 30 days of temporary access, and we think that folks were just kind of getting temporary access cards over and over again. And we want to make sure that we are being good stewards of our resources and ensuring that we are, you know, that it's not that people from Iowa or Wisconsin are bad, but not just folks from Iowa or Wisconsin trying to get a library card and use the e-resources, because we do have good e-resources. Next slide. We do share, we do have a interlibrary loan-ish program with Selco and with Traverse de Sioux. It is a very unique, we were the first library systems to provide this kind of cross-sharing. The second, okay. So we're early adopters of this. These agreements allow us to borrow, and if you're a Libby user, you know your library card will let you get access, which is great because we don't all buy the same things. So it's meant to broaden access to collection. We have been asked to do the same with North Mankato, so we'll be bringing information for you all to decide at a future board meeting. Again, it's great because it offers this, you know, extra different titles often that we'll have access to, but it also means more folks have access to the titles that we have. We do put limitations, so popular titles, really, I mean, generally, the popular titles are really only for Rochester library card holders.
Anything in the waiting list is prioritized for Rochester users.
Yes.
So every Rochester user hold needs to be filled before somebody from a shared library will get access to it. So that's one of the ways. There are more lending models than you even want to know about, but the lending models that we have to buy where we're purchasing by checkout, we don't share those. But we do share the ones that are, that we own or that we own for a specific period of time.
So again, more to come on that, and that will be, we're formalizing what our recommendation and what our information is that we want to present, because it is a very hot topic. We've been a long, you know, we have a long tradition of sharing resources. Physical resources are harder to get though, you know, so if you're a Duluth customer, you can come in here and you can get a library card, you can use our resources. I could go to Duluth and use their resources. Arguably, it's harder to go drive there and get them, and so you don't see the same type of demand that you do when it comes to e-resources. So, again, more to come on that. Next slide. Just kind of a summary of what we had talked about. One thing that we are exploring for next year is getting a full instant access card that would be verified using existing, I always like to call it creepy marketing data. It does utilize that you have signed away every time you sign into an app, but it would provide that real true library card that would be verified. Other libraries have done this. Denver Public Library does this. Others in the state, in the nation do this. So again, more to come on that at future meetings.
But this wouldn't have anything to do in terms of renewal of cards?
No, so that is actually a completely different product. And the demand, the priority, we feel really is in that getting somebody a library card instantly. There is much more demand for that than the renewal, I think, at the circulation desk, that's the demand or the conversation that they're often having.
Right. We've had that conversation before in terms of making renewals easier for more.
Yeah,
That's coming up. We're still working on that.
that would be, there's a cost
Yeah, there always is.
in our giant budget. So, any questions?
Have you, at any point, done an accessibility scan of the website, et cetera?
That, so we have had conversations about doing that, but no, that is something that we need to do. There are some tools I think that the city is using that we are exploring. Yeah,
There are a lot of free ways to get original feedback and see if it meets the standards.
yeah. And the city again has the accessibility coordinator, the Harvard fellow that is
Mhm.
working here, and that's one of the issues that he has been exploring too, and getting more accessibility added to our websites. So, yeah.
In terms of physical accessibility, is there a city person that is in charge of that issue?
It really has been Jacob Metz, the accessibility coordinator, that has been kind of like doing work that really probably needed to be done for years. And he has, instituted or implemented the grievance process for any community member that does have a concern that is not getting addressed. And we actually got to go through that process because we had a customer who was struggling to get into our library doors. And so, yeah, so it's, we could always use more, I think, resources. And I know that is a need that's being explored.
I mean, even as something as direct as the push button for the staff here.
Right.
Can they help us with that?
It's part of the joint facilities, right? There is that kind of, maybe. That's the short answer, right?
But you're gonna pursue it.
Yes, we'll always pursue. And there are also grants that do exist to help with accessibility, so.
Okay, any questions on any of this? Can I have a motion to adjourn? Second. Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're adjourned.